All right, the future of abortion access and mail-order medicine could be impacted by a new lawsuit just filed by the Attorney General of Texas. Ken Paxton is suing a doctor from New Paltz, New York, for prescribing abortion pills to a woman in his state where there is a near total ban on the procedure. In New York, doctors are shielded from out-of-state prosecution. CBS News correspondent Jason Allen is live in Dallas and joins me now to discuss. So tell me more about this lawsuit, Jason.
So good morning, Vlad. In order to understand where this is coming from, we have to go back to the late spring, early summer. There was, according to the lawsuit from Paxton, there was a 20-year-old woman here where we are in Collin County, just north of Dallas, who became pregnant. And then in mid-July, July 16th, the suit says that she asked the biological father of the child to rush her to the hospital, that she was experiencing bleeding. So he did that, and the suit says that when he was there, he was told by the doctors and nurses that treated the woman that she, quote, had been approximately 9 weeks pregnant. It appears from the suit that he didn't know about the pregnancy. With that information, the suit says he went home. He suspected that she may have done something to end it and found 2 prescription bottles, 2 different pills that are drugs used to induce an abortion. And the suit says that both of those pills were prescribed by this doctor out of New York, a Dr. Maggie Carpenter with Abortion Coalition for Telemedicine. Of course, Texas has strict laws on abortion, outline it in most cases. Doctors are not allowed to prescribe abortion pills by mail. They're not allowed to prescribe pills for a woman who's beyond 49 days pregnant. There has to be follow-up interviews or follow-up appointments if something like that is used. The suit also says that the doctor violated Texas law by not being licensed to practice medicine in Texas. And in addition, you have to have admitting privileges at a hospital here within 30 miles of where the abortion is performed. So for all of those reasons, that is why Paxton has now filed this lawsuit and is seeking as much as $100,000 for each of the counts that that Paxton says the doctor in this case is violated.
So what are people saying about the impact that this case could have, not only on abortion access, but that mail-order medicine and shield laws potentially too? I mean, what kind of precedent does this set?
Right, and so let's talk about access first, because there is that situation with the pills, because you have groups like ACT out of New York that are set up really specifically, intentionally, to be able to provide these drugs to women who need them in these states where they now have strict abortion laws. So the question comes up, and what we'll be watching for is there any change in behavior by these groups to provide these pills? Do they keep sending them? If they do they leave themselves at risk to lawsuits like this? Do they have to come from somewhere else? Do the pills potentially have to come from overseas? And then does it take longer to get to the women who are looking for them? Are they able to get them at all? Beyond that, then we get into the legal questions, Vlad, of these states that now have these differing laws, because each of the states here are acting really in accordance with their own laws. Texas has its laws, and it appears to have the right to go after this doctor. New York has this shield law, which says it won't cooperate with any attempts to prosecute doctors who are acting in this way. Of course, states typically, they work together. If someone was to assault someone here in Texas, it would be New York that would recognize that. In this case, though, the states don't recognize each other's laws. It's likely that this is something that's eventually going to have to make its way to the Supreme Court, and we'll have to see if the court decides that there are potential exceptions in these cases, Vlad.
All right, Jason Allen for us this morning. I appreciate it, Jason. Thank you.